Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Moa aka Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today I'm trying a really interesting Deanston. So this here is a 20 cl sample of a hand-filled Deanston from 2004, which was filled on the 29th of February 2020, and it is at 59.4% ABV. It is from a sherry butt, and of course it's from an Amontillado sherry butt. Amontillado is said to be a sherry that's darker than Fino, but lighter than Oloroso. And I always think it's very fascinating to try a whiskey that's been matured in a type of sherry that might not be Oloroso or Pedro Jimenez that you see a lot of. And I have to say a massive thank you to a wonderful whiskey wanderer and supporter of this channel who was kind enough to gift me this bottle. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to try it. Also, what's so great is that you can get these 20 cl bottles because it's not all the time that you might be able to afford or even get a hold of a full-size bottle. And this one's from whiskeyinternationalonline.com. It's no collaboration with them or so, but if someone's looking, it's always good to know where you can turn to. So should we start by having a little look on the nose? It's sherried, but different. It almost feels like it's more golden and light on the feeling of the sherry notes, because it is quite dense, but it's almost more nutty honey, maybe? Feels quite nutty and honeyed at the first kind of glimpse of it. And a little bit like golden raisins. So still quite dense sweetness, but almost a little bit more golden and lighter when it mixes with that kind of honey nuttiness. The nuttiness, I would say, was the first thing I got, because that was the most dominant thing that I got straight away. But now it's changing a little bit and making it more fresh fruitiness. It's a very, very intriguing fruitiness, and I don't know exactly what it is. It's like a golden oakiness and like some baked fruits. A little bit floral, but more kind of like when you're baking and you start feeling this wonderful scent in the kitchen. It's that kind of bigness of the aromas. Almost a bit like grapes as well. The kind of freshness, and I want to say perfumed, but it's not perfumed in a way that it's quite florally perfumed. It's this annoys me when I get this really wonderful scent and I can't pinpoint exactly what the notes are. But it's quite tropical. The fruitiness itself is quite tropical. Maybe it's like a mixture between baked apricots and baked pineapple, like grilled pineapple. Maybe it'll make a little bit more sense if I have a little taste, and maybe if we add a little bit of water. So Sláinte Skål. Ooh, quite spicy. Spicy and oaky and golden. Quite clovey. Clove and floral spice. And a nice oakiness. It's definitely like a cask oakiness, which is quite robust, quite mature oak. It's not very bitter, but it's slightly dry, but it could also be the combination of the spice, of course. There's still this kind of baked apricot grilled pineapple mix, maybe mixed with a little bit of those golden raisins. Keeps going on. Definitely a sherry influence, but like I said on the nose, the sherry influence feels more golden in a way. It is quite hot. It's quite... I think you might need a few drops of water. Almost a little bit like orange, like candied orange peels. Because it does have this kind of sweet citrusy vibe. Almost a bit of grapefruit as well. Maybe it's candied grapefruit peels. But we're going to add a little bit of water just to see what's happened, since it is a little bit hot at 59 in my opinion. But I think just a little bit, because it's not that overpowering. You still get a lot of flavour, but I think maybe a little bit, just a little touch. It almost gets more of a, in a really good way, almost more of a petrol nose. Like petrol and fresh tropical fruits. Like the petrol feels almost a little bit oily, that sensation. But the fruitiness became almost more oaky now. It almost became a little bit more grounded, if that makes sense. But let's have a taste. A little bit less spicy, which actually is quite a nice thing, because the spice and the oakiness made it just so dry. And personally, I think it's almost easier to actually get the flavours if the dram feels a little bit more juicy and not so drying, because then it just feels like you're left with the finish, which is this constant drying sensation, instead of actually getting more flavours and kind of making them change. Something is that kind of grapefruit influence that I'm getting now. Because it's like that mixture between a little bit almost sour and that kind of sweet citrus, and then a slight bitterness, like a citrus bitterness, which is very pleasant. It still feels very golden. I do think Deanston has a lot of really interesting whiskies that they're releasing and using loads of different casks. So I really wish I was able to try more of them. Especially since the Deanston brandy is one of my favourite whiskies. And yeah, I'm so happy I was able to try this. It's so golden, has like a nice clove spice with that oakiness to it. That grapefruit influence really kind of... When I found the word grapefruit, I was quite happy because that kind of sums it up. Because it's that kind of mixture between sweet, a little bit almost tart, and then a little bit bitter as well. And that was golden raisins as well, so it's definitely that sherry influence is quite strong, but more golden, which makes it feel less, instead of this kind of deep, rich, dark red sherry note that I think a lot of people associate when they hear sherry matured. I would of course love to hear your thoughts. Have you tried the Deanston Amontillado perhaps? Or have you tried another Deanston that was hand-filled? Or just what's your favourite Deanston? I would of course love to hear your thoughts, and I'm going to try my very best to hopefully visit the distillery soon as well. It is one that I think is quite fascinating. They do have a nice tour where you get to go into the warehouses, and the distillery is of course located in an old cotton mill, so it has quite a special appearance as well. And of course, if you like what I'm doing here on YouTube and my other social channels, I'd be absolutely over the moon if you consider using my affiliate links the next time you're shopping with either Master Malt, the Whisky Exchange, or the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. All the information is of course in the link here below, as well as links to my website, my Patreon, my Teespring shop, and my Instagram if you're curious about that. As always, a massive thank you to my wonderful supporters on Patreon, and of course to everyone who supports this channel. It means so much to hear your really kind words and that you keep liking and subscribing. It makes me so happy, and it definitely makes it worth it when I sit there editing those early mornings and late evenings. So a massive sláinte to you. But I hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day. Sláinte Skål.